Hello and welcome back to Walks and Pubs. In this second episode, I'm taking a walk from Bournemouth Queen's Park via Bournemouth Airport to St. Leonard's. And I started my journey at this bus stop near the Queen's Park Hotel in Bournemouth. A subway took me to Queen's Park, one of Bournemouth's many green spaces. At this time of the morning, many joggers, dog walkers and golfers were already using the park, although the nearby road was a bit noisy during that particular period. Nevertheless, I also thought it was a great place to relax and decided to have my breakfast there. Queen's Park takes the visitor through a range of woodland, a golf course and informal green spaces. It is managed by Bournemouth Christchurch and Poole Council in partnership with the Queen's Park Improvement and Protection Society. It has even been recognized by the Green Flag Award, which sets the benchmark standard for the management of recreational outdoor spaces across the United Kingdom and around the world. The park has a modern children's playground, the Woodpecker Cafe, parking and public toilets, as well as a rifle range that was opened by Lord Montague of Bewley as far back as 1907. The golf course was even opened in 1905 and redesigned in 1963. Before all that, Queen's Park was known as Poor's Common because this stretch of heathland had poor soils. From 1802, the nearby households used the area to cut turf from it in order to use it as a source of energy. 100 years later, it became Queen's Park, named after Queen Alexandra, wife to King Edward VII. Quite a lot of local wildlife can be found here, such as the stag beetle, the emperor dragonfly, the green woodpecker, the red fox, and the speckled wood butterfly. The Queen's Park Improvement and Protection Society organizes events here, like the annual Picnic in the Park. After crossing through the park, I reached this residential area and about half a mile on, arrived at the Cooper Dean roundabout. In this area of Stroughton Park, Littledown and Townsend, not only the roundabout but also at least 2 restaurants, a hotel and a street have Cooper Dean in their names. This is down to the once influential Cooper Dean family who owned these and other lands. Their last descendants sold this area to Bournemouth Council in the early 1980s. They would probably be pleased to see that their name has survived until today. I crossed the road then, and here you can see the flyover that carries the A338. I'll tell you more about it in a few moments. This footpath that runs parallel to the busy road would eventually take me to Holdenhurst. At its end I passed the Welcome to Bournemouth footbridge and decided to climb up the stairs. The A338 Bournemouth Spur Road runs 84 miles from Poole via Salisbury in Wiltshire to Besselsley in Oxfordshire. From its beginning to the Cooper Dean roundabout that we've just seen, it's known as the Wessex Way. The cranes in the background are standing there because of construction works that are going on at the Royal Bournemouth Hospital, which is undergoing a reconfiguration. This is because the Bournemouth and Christchurch hospitals have merged with Poole Hospital in 2020 to form the University Hospitals Dorset NHS Foundation Trust, which provides healthcare for the residents of the local area. The new trust employs more than 9,000 staff. And on this side of the bridge, you can already see Holdenhurst Village in the background, which is going to be my next destination. And now it's time for what I thought to be the most pleasant part of this time's journey, which was the route from Holdenhurst via the River Stour and Pigshoot Lane to Bournemouth Airport. Holdenhurst is a village on the outskirts of Bournemouth and the place where the aforementioned Cooper Dean family originated. Whilst Bournemouth, of which Holdenhurst is now a suburb, is a relatively new settlement as it was only founded in 1810, Holdenhurst is an ancient settlement that stretches back far beyond the era of written records to the Romans and to the Celtic Durotrichus tribe before them. The village has a beautiful small church, and the foundation stone for it was laid in 1833 by the second Earl of Malmesbury, and it was consecrated and opened for worship in 1834 by the Bishop of Winchester. However, there has been a church at Holdenhurst since Saxon times, with the original church even being mentioned in the Domesday Book. Here in Holdenhurst and in neighbouring Throop, you can also find 28 of these Grade II listed gas lamps that were erected by Christchurch Borough between 1902 and 1910, which was before Holdenhurst was incorporated into Bournemouth in 1931. To function, these gas lamps need to manually get wound up once a week. Seeing them glow in the dark must be quite a magnificent sight. Then, when I was filming the area between Holdenhurst and Throop, I was very surprised to run into this pheasant. Rather astonishing to find these wild birds so close to an urban settlement. Having arrived in Throop, I came across Throop Mill. This 3-story high building at the banks of the River Stour was used as a flour mill up until 1974, and a mill has stood on this location at least since the 11th century. Unfortunately, this Grade II listed building has been in disuse ever since the mill stopped its production. Being a listed building that has been vacant for a number of years, the site is monitored by Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole Council, and I'm hoping that a new purpose for this historic building can be found soon. I've read about rumors of ghosts and strange happenings at the mill, so maybe these are the ones responsible for the current situation. Who knows? Following a part of the Stour Valley Way which runs behind the building, I try to imagine what it must have been like when the mill was still operating. Not far from the mill, a new nature park is planned. A few yards on, I came to a bridge over the River Stour, where I got to see some of the river's delightful scenery. The Stour is in fact the County of Dorset's longest river. It is 61 miles long and rises at Stour Head in southwest Wiltshire. After a short distance, it crosses the county boundary to Dorset, where it stays for the rest of its course until it drains into Christchurch Harbour and subsequently into Christchurch Bay and the English Channel. The Stour has many different fish species and therefore fishing is popular. It's also a popular place to see otters, who also like to get their fair share of the fish. If you'd like to explore more places along this river on foot, the 64-mile-long Stour Valley Way is a good way to do so. A short stroll past a field and I encountered another pheasant. After crossing a stream, I arrived at Pigshoot Lane. I really was relieved to get through this street without being mistaken for another species. Around 3/4 of a mile on, I passed by Adventure Wonderland, and not long after that arrived at Bournemouth Airport. One more mile and I arrived in Herne, and after an additional half mile it was time for another break. I then made my way to Herne Forest and got another glimpse of Bournemouth Airport. The airport is located to the north and east of the Stour, which marks the boundary between the towns of Bournemouth and Christchurch. This is why Herne and Bournemouth Airport are actually parts of Christchurch, and the airport's address reads Christchurch, BH23 6SE. The final stage of my journey was a 3-mile walk through Herne Forest. Most trees here are conifers, there are also some open areas with heathland, and I thought that the footpath was a very nice one, as it was broad and well maintained. Herne Forest was created in the 19th century and it's managed by Forestry England, who look after the woodland for timber production and for the people and the wildlife who use it. Anyway, I'm really starting to look forward to my concluding beer at the pub now, so let's hurry up a bit. In St. Leonard's, I met these lovely chaps, and after I had a look at this part of the village and had crossed the footbridge over another busy road, I arrived at this pub, which is suitably named the Woodman. After this 11-mile walk, I happily sat down with a pint of bitter and drank to my successfully concluded journey. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this walk as well, please consider subscribing to this channel. You could also watch my previous video, where I walk from Dorchester to Weymouth, or visit my website walksandpubs.uk, where you can find additional photos and other info about this and other walks. Cheers and hopefully see you soon.